January 29, 1884. Aurora Daily Express, Aurora, Illinois. Red-eyed terror. A monster with fiery optics loose in the woods. Ohio maintains its reputation for great things, a sort of buckeye swamp angel. Its history, Cincinnati, January 29. The Enquirer has the following from Bellbrook, Greene County, Ohio. The people in the vicinity of Gandertown, a small village 4 miles north of here, in the extreme northwestern part of the county, and within 6 miles of Dayton, have been greatly excited in the past 2 weeks over the sudden appearance in the neighborhood of a terrible monster, unusually large and of singular shape. As yet, no one has been able to give it a name. In order to give a true description of this singular monster, I will go back a period of 18 years, when it first made its appearance near Bellbrook, in a swamp on the Uncle Tommy Kramer farm. In the fall of 1865, Uncle Tommy kept his cows in a swamp pasture near the banks of the Little Miami River. While searching for them one evening, he discovered the entire herd running in a circuitous route through the tall swamp grass and high weeds, seemingly terribly frightened. This strange performance upon the part of the cattle excited Uncle Tommy's curiosity. Upon a closer investigation, he discovered that the herd was closely pursued by what he supposed was a large snake, with its head erected about 4 feet above the grass and undergrowth, and following in hot pursuit. Seeing him, it lowered its head and disappeared in the swamp. Tommy related his adventure to some friends, and with anxious, though somewhat fearful hearts, they armed themselves and went in search of it, but could only see where the monster had passed through the grass, and his track was soon lost. The excitement soon died away, and no more was thought of the matter until 1868. In that year, David Raper, while mowing grass near Kramer Swamp on an adjoining farm, was in the act of making a stroke with his scythe when he discovered, within a few feet of him, what he supposed was a huge snake with its head erect above the grass. This so frightened him that he dropped his scythe and fled to town. Again, a party went in search, but the monster had disappeared. The fright so prostrated Mr. Raper that he lay for weeks on a bed of sickness. Time passed on, and nothing more was seen of what was supposed to be an enormous reptile until 1876, when William Murphy, a young lad, discovered his dog barking ferociously at what he supposed was a log in the edge of a dense thicket or forest of small trees. Thinking that the dog had found a hole in the log where a rabbit or ground mouse had entered for safety, he started to render his faithful canine some assistance. He had only advanced a few feet when the supposed log raised a head some 4 feet in the air and disappeared in the forest. This so frightened the dog that he disappeared in another direction and was never seen by his master again. Many of our citizens were in a high state of excitement, but the monster could not be found. His next appearance was in 1879, when William Dill discovered him lying secreted behind a drift along a branch about 2 miles distance from where he was first seen. William, not desiring to cultivate any further acquaintance, made a hasty retreat, and for fear that some of his friends would attack him, he kept it a secret for several weeks. All of these eyewitnesses described the head as resembling a snake's and as large as a calf's head, with large, fiery-looking red eyes. Nothing more was seen of him until recently, when he has again put in an appearance quite frequently between this place and Gandertown. Along a small stream known as Possum Run, he has of late been seen in full view, and fears have been entertained that he may yet do some serious damage. He is now described as being about 15 feet in length. Its head and neck are about the size of a man's body and about 6 feet in length, with large red eyes, and the only noise he produces is a hissing sound. That portion of the monster resembles a snake. The body is different. It is about 9 feet in length, resembling an alligator, but, when aroused, can make speed equal to the fastest snakes. When moving, it carries its head erect, but when not disturbed, it coils its long neck and head on its back and is on the lookout for intruders. It does not show any disposition for fight, but moves with terrific speed. Dogs refuse to give chase. It is supposed that it subsists on rabbits and fowls, for on Thursday last, Fred Duncan shot at it while it was running, with a portion of a rabbit in its mouth. Sunday morning, about 3 o'clock, while Eli Hauer was returning from Xenia, his horse became terribly frightened while passing a stable near his home. There was a terrible uproar among the chickens, and Eli supposed that somebody was stealing them. After unhitching his horse, he went back to the stable and saw some feathers gathered over the snow beat down, and tracks of a peculiar character in the direction of Possum Run. He aroused his neighbor John Webb, and they armed themselves and struck the trail. They had not gone far until they discovered the monster about 300 yards distant, near a plank fence, devouring a chicken. This so excited Webb that he fired a shot from his rifle at him, causing him to take flight, bursting through the plank fence, totally demolishing the 2 bottom boards. The 2 men followed, stopping to get the assistance of Mr. Calvin Lansinger, an old hunter. They kept the trail until after daylight, when it entered a crevice between the rocks in Houston's stone quarry. There was a party engaged in making a deadfall at the hole where it entered, and it is to be hoped that it will be captured when it comes out. Until then, the tender-hearted people in that community will live in fear. June 9, 1976. Sarasota Herald Tribune, Sarasota, Florida. Skunk-Ape sighting investigated. Punta Gorda. South Florida's fabled skunk-ape, an elusive and maybe mythical monster, made its first reported appearance in Charlotte County late Sunday night, according to a complaint investigated by the Sheriff's Department. Described as a foul-smelling, hairy creature, the monster was sighted by a North Fort Myers resident identified as Charles Hawley. Deputy Warren Valier investigated the sighting, which occurred in the rural eastern part of the county, and reported finding large footprints leading into the woods and some hair caught on the barbed wire fence. Earlier reports of the skunk-ape, describing the creature as about 6 feet in height, have come from the Everglades area.